you know, it's not so heavy, but it's very hard to get something going. All right, yeah. So, um, very exciting, very exciting. I see. As far as the most of the, I'm always doing something. It seems like if I'm not specifically doing research within my business, doing a lot of research on the e-commerce world. You know how social media platforms are trending nowadays, and I don't want to play a catch-up game here. So instead of specifically focusing on what other businesses are doing, I'm going to focus on what other businesses aren't doing, and or what other businesses should do, and just get on top of that. Because if I start you know focusing my business on specifically social media, then I feel like I'm going to be a little bit behind. Because that's already, most businesses are on that basically, and everybody is just jumping at it. So I mentioned this the other day, and I'm gonna make it a word of the day as well. Is to think ahead. Be always in a future mode when we're making plans or anything like that. I know it's very difficult when life comes in and other challenges just dropping out of nowhere, but that's the challenge of being a business owner. I see myself. There's things that you should expect, and not to give any advice. These are the things that I'm going through right now, so I'm not necessarily giving advice. I am simply completing a commitment, and it's a challenge to myself. It's a challenge to myself that I can reflect back on, and after 365 days, I'm gonna. Well, now it's dimming down, but after this period of time that I set for myself, I want to see what growth that I made. Um, by if I don't make that commitment to go ahead and post these blogs, then I might fall behind. Or so it's somewhat of a some I can get disciplined very easily. So, and that's what really pushed me into this business. Once I had that mindset, I was go. So back to what I was saying. As far as business, it has to be futuristic. It's not something that you do want to play a catch up game for. So what I'm experiencing right now is, since I'm starting at the foundations, the fundamentals, how I should run my business, specifically how it's going to be run after 5 years. So that's what my main focus is. How is I'm standing in front of Caribou Coffee right now. How is Caribou Coffee gonna get customers after 5 years? Are they just gonna be branded? Are they just gonna be well known? Are people just gonna be going out and getting coffee so often that they don't need to put themselves out there? Or are there gonna be other smaller competitors? Um, uh, I don't know, gyms, Dave and Buster's. How are those guys gonna stay up and getting their word out there, basically? So they have to do something. I seen Dave and Buster's commercials on TV. They have pages, they have a website, things like that. But things are going to change. How will they be doing business after 5 years? And so that's if anybody's watching this right now, simply, if you're thinking about starting a business, my best advice would be to think ahead. If you're creating that business plan, think about how your business should be running, and or what products that if you're not going into the service industry, what product that might be coming out that people are going to be in use of 3 to 5 years from now on, and create that. I'm not in the creation portion. I somewhat am, because if I'm marketing something, I have to create it. But on the other hand, um, that tip that I mentioned on the first episode as well, a tip that I got from Gary Vee, was to go ahead and document. That's going to likely get you to more recognition, to simple growth that you would be able to see in yourself. Um, so I took that for a shot. Instead of creating something about my early stages of entrepreneurship, I'm gonna go ahead and just document that and blog that, basically. And that's what he does. He's very successful as far as what he did. But I watched a lot of his videos, and looking at the ones that he did most in the back days, 3 or 4 years ago. Um, it wasn't not a lot of people were following up with it. He knows that too. So it's staying true to yourself. and that's what I see. If I know this is what I want after 5, 10 years, which I do, then I'm gonna build it towards how I should run it 5, 10 years from now on. And once I do that now, then boom, I have an advantage. I have something different. I have boom, it comes together. But those are my last minutes. I did go a little bit over, maybe 2 or 3 minutes over, but that's okay. My other video before they got cut. So bada bing, bada boom. Thank you for stopping by, and catch you on the next flight. These are the early days of an entrepreneur. Stay in tune. I have a lot of things in mind. Boom. Hey, I look good, bald, by the way. Self-esteem.